I'm not saying it starts at the top, because it can start anywhere. That, the seed for culture can really grow from anybody, but you certainly need to live it and breathe it as a leader. And that means believing in it, not just giving it piecemeal. If you don't believe in it, then don't apply, because people will see through it. They'll call bullshit. Yeah, look, I think that people see through bullshit, and sometimes leaders, they get together and they say, oh, we need to change the culture. They bring in consultants and then they say, hey, for change the culture, you got to do this, this, this. And then they go about mechanically implementing those things because that's what they told they have to do. But what they forgot is to actually believe in it themselves and live it and act it. So unless you from the top are living and breathing that culture because you believe it, and to your point, people are not, then if you're not showing that, don't expect anybody else to do it, right? So I'm not saying it starts at the top, because it can start anywhere. That, the seed for culture can really grow from anybody, but you certainly need to live it and breathe it as a leader. And that means believing in it, not just giving it piecemeal. If you don't believe in it, then don't apply, because people will see through it. They'll call bullshit.
You've seen quite a lot of teams over the years. It seems like it would be easier to step into a new role, have a team and change the culture because you're fresh. And it's a point of change. But what if it was like, if it's the same team as it was previous as it is now, and now the only thing that can change is you? How do you change yourself as a sales leader and be consistent enough that your team know it's not just some fad? If I just hold off for a month, he'll forget or she'll forget. How do you as that person shift?
Very, very, very hard, right? Let me just say, kind of a reverse answer. There is a point in which you have to be honest with yourself and say, I've expired my usefulness in this role or in this organization. And that's okay. That's not an admission of failure. It just means that you're ready for something else, or you've been doing this for too long. It's hard to change, particularly when you're putting the mirror upon yourself. It's very hard to change. And this is why I say that you have to want to change. So as an individual, and I'm speaking about myself here now, when I realized that I need to change something different, I need to really soul search and say, why do I want to change? How does that align to my values, my beliefs, my goals and aspirations in this company? And if I can attach to something that is meaningful, either at a personal level, for example, one of the things that's helped me change a lot in the last couple of years is my relationship with my daughter, is me wanting to get much closer to her and having her trust me so that as she gets into her later teens and she gets in trouble, she comes to dad, right? Rather than dad doesn't find out and the problem becomes worse. So I wanted to create with us in our family a culture of openness and trust, and I was really working on that. So that was a true motivation for me to change. If I can attach that to my work life and say, for example, I said, okay, people are not trusting me. People are feeling that I'm disingenuous, that I'm just saying it, but I really am just interested in myself. Then I need to soul search and understand whether that's true, I believe it, and whether I want to change. And maybe looking outside and saying, well, where else could that be reflected? And hey, that's reflected with my daughter. I better change that, and I better change that here. Because if I don't change it here, then I'm not going to change it there. So that's one thing I would say. The other thing I would say is you've got to seek feedback, external feedback. If you're really, really invested in your team and your people, you've got to be okay to hear bad feedback. Hey, Gus, it turns out that when you're in these meetings, you ask people for their opinion, but then you just interject and it turns out being your opinion anyway. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. right? And you've got to be prepared to take that and not say, thank you. Now I'm going to make sure that person never gets a promotion. Right?
Do that.
Do that. Yeah. That's culture, right? That's culture.
Culture.
So, because there are these fear cultures and people that don't do this. So you've got to be prepared and open to take in feedback if you're going to change. Now, like I said, if there is no motivation outside of your organization that addresses your personal values, if you're not open to feedback, if you have a determination that you're set in your ways, or no, that's how I like to run things, and maybe you've expired your usefulness and it's time for you to move on.